is also part of the marketing team. So we put our heads together, and we're going to talk a little bit about what we did when we started to revamp our website. Thank you, Dolores. Next.
Cool.
So the first thing that is really, really important is that you focus and you think about who are you talking to. Now, this is your shop window. So therefore, the most important people are the potential new members. So we know that they're 55 plus. We know that they're not working full time, because that makes you U3A. Now, you have to make the assumption that they have no awareness of U3A at all, because that's an easy place to start. They may have some awareness, but focus and think about none. Now, you've also got your existing members who, of course, are very familiar with U3A. So some of that is going to be a bit boring, and they'll jump to other pages. So if we now move to and start thinking about the most important page on your website, and this is because for most people, this is the very, very first place that they're going to come. Now, every research you like to look at is going to tell you that you have 15 seconds, that's it, before they decide whether they're going to find out more or go boring and click out and go somewhere else. So what you have on this homepage is the only thing you can do is to deliver the essential message about U3A. What exactly are we? So what we thought about this, and this isn't what we put on our website, but if you like, this is our mission statement. This is how we think about ourselves. So we come back to this all the time when we're thinking about the website. What do we want to deliver? Now, Derek's going to talk you into the next most important page.
So the next most important page is the welcome page. So this expands on what you're going to tell people, what your U3A has got to offer. And probably the most important thing that your U3A has got to offer is what activity groups you've got within your U3A. Now, if possible, give links to to the groups within your website. If you've got a lot of groups, you might not be able to do that. But if you've got a few groups, then link to those groups. What communications have you got within your U3A? Do you have a magazine? Do you have a newsletter? Do you have a Facebook page? If you have, link to that page, link to your Facebook page if you've got one. What meetings have you got? Monthly meetings? You've probably not got a lot of those at the moment, but do you have online meetings? What social events do you have? Again, you might not have many of those at the moment, but if you have those in the future, link to your social event pages. If you've got any testimonials, what have people's emails that the people have sent in to you saying how good your U3A is, what advantage has it been to them? Put them on your welcome page, because people do like to read that sort of thing. And finally, link to the membership page. Tells them how much your U3A is going to cost and what the advantages are of being a member of your U3A. Now, Chepstow U3A uses Site Builder. This is a free package which is provided by the Third Age Trust. We've been using it for a long time, 5 years, 6 years, or whatever. It's been around a long time, and it is fair to say it is not a modern package, it's not a sophisticated package, but it does do all the basics, and it is there, it is meant to be used by the average non-technical U3A member. Even somebody like Nikki can do it. But it does have limited options. It has formatting options, limited formatting options. For instance, it can do bold, but it can't do underlining. You can put photographs on there, and you do need lots of photographs on your website, and you can put them on Site Builder, but you're limited as to where you can put them. And it has tabulation options, but they're limited as to what you can do. But you can still produce a decent website from it. And bear in mind, it's free and it does have online support, free online support. And the other thing, which is very useful, is that they will take advice. The site builder team, if you think that you can give them some information that will improve the package, they will take that on board. And there are things that when I use the site builder package, I still see things that I've advised them that they could improve the package. And I think, oh, that is something I advised them to use, and they've updated the package. And that's not something that you get with a lot of professional packages.
So we did develop rules when we are putting our website together and when we're working on the website. And our first rule, and I would say one of the most important things, is always, 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 always deliver a positive message. So even in these difficult times, we are delivering the positives that we're doing. We're never focusing on what we can't do. We never say a group is closed, because that's very negative. Think about things like the running order of the tabs across the page, because what you don't want is all the sort of the admin-y, boring-y stuff to be right at the beginning. So our beacon will be shoved right at the end, and our membership and our groups and our magazine, all the things which really talk about and demonstrate what we're all about, we've got up the front. The other thing really I would really urge people is, please don't put reams and reams and reams and reams of copy, because people don't read it. They really don't. People want to be able to skim through to see if they're interested. So I would say, be concise. Really think about the important thing that you want to communicate and really prioritize on that, and take out a lot of the clutter. Now, one way to do this, which we try to do, is we organise into headings so people can see very, very clearly what it is that we're talking to them about in that little section, and put into bullet points. I would strongly urge that you put in photos throughout all the pages of people enjoying themselves, because that adds warmth. It adds empathy, and it says this is what we're all about. We are an organisation for people to enjoy themselves. As Derek said, particularly on the welcome page, but on all the pages, add links to the other important pages so they can just click on, and obviously membership is important. And the other thing that I would say, and we do try and do this, is just keep looking at the website, keep updating it. Make sure that particularly when you've got anything to do with meetings, once that meeting's gone, take it out, put the next one in. And so really, the other thing that I really think is important is what you really need here is teamwork. This isn't something that just your webmaster can do, because you very rarely are going to get the skills of the strategy, the copywriter, someone who look at photos, and somebody who has the technical expertise to actually put it into the website in one person. We have 4 people who continually work on the website, and in terms of looking at the website from a marketing point of view, there are 3 of us who work on this. And I would say, it is all about teamwork. Please don't just leave it to your webmaster. That's us.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Nikki. Can I just have a quick look at the sort of chat questions that people have put? Let's go. There is a question, actually, Nikki, that's not directly to you, but if I could answer it. I've had a word with our own website master, and basically there's a question about will Site Builder be updated with the Beacon update? And the answer, as far as I know, the answer is yes, that Beacon will actually include effectively some site builder 2 as part of the Beacon package. That's my understanding. I mean, if anyone has any addition to that, please let me know. Okay, so messages.
I've heard that.
Sorry, basically, that Phil Green. Phil. Do you want to just unmute yourself and talk about Beacon 2, because that may be of help to people. Phil Green.
Okay, yeah, I don't know much more. I'm no expert on Beacon 2, but yes, the big difference will be that there will be a way of linking together closely under the same URL, the database aspects of Beacon and the website aspects of supporting a u3a branch. So it will look much more like modern sites do. Trying to think of a good example. Marks and Spencer's site actually is quite good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, there's a question from Dave Hamley asking whether Nikki and Derek, whether they could actually look at your website, show your website. Is it possible to bring it, to share that with us?
Yeah, Derek can do that.
And if I can just say something that you omitted to say, but which I really like about your website, is the conscious use of a variety of different photographs to project the message, the core mission statement that you were making, that this is for all different types of people, and it's for a lot of very active people with active interests, as well as the more cerebral sort of passive, shall we say, interest.
Yeah, you can see that, I assume.
Derek, go to our homepage first.
Do you want to talk? Go on.
So what you can see is what we've done here is we've started off with that very positive statement. What are we? We're an activity-led organisation. And then we've said, we're still doing it. We're still running. We're still meeting our friends. We're still making friends. We're still having fun. So that's the core of what u3a is. And so we're still delivering that message on our homepage. And then our welcome page. See, now, if you go back to the top, Derek, just to have a look at we're talking about, what is u3a all about? It's living life to the full. So we've put that right at the very beginning, very out there. We then come back to just say a little bit more about, and we're saying no longer being in full-time employment. Go up a little bit, Derek, can't read that. Gives us time to enjoy the things we left behind. So then it's a little bit more about who do you need to be to think about being part of this organisation. And we looked at the research that Tat did about barriers to joining. And of course, one of the big barriers to joining was this perception of retirement. So we've rebranded it being no longer in full-time employment, which takes out that emotive word. So then we go down and we've divided all our groups into sections. So if you're interested in art or you're interested in languages, you can immediately see what kind of groups we've got in the areas you might be interested in. And then there's our first link where you can click on groups to go and have a look at more detail about the individual groups. Then we come, Derek's on into groups. So then there's everything about all the groups. So if you go back to the welcome, then we go on and we say, okay, we've also got lots of social activities. So then we give them a link to the monthly magazine. We give them a link to Tuesday Live, which is our meetings. And then we give them a link to social events. Now, obviously, we haven't got any social events at the moment, but that would be what we do. And then we had a few really nice testimonials, which basically is quietly looking at reasons why people might want to join, and just giving that reassurance, that said, actually, it did exactly what it said on the tin. And lastly, because that's what you really want people to do, we give you a membership link, because that's where we're driving you. We're driving you onto joining. So we're saying, we're making it so easy for you. Click on membership. This is how you join. So you can see everything is laid out to be easy to read, to be very easy to navigate, so that you don't have to spend a long time trying to find the bits that you're interested in.
That's great, Nikki and Derek. Thanks ever so much. Can I suggest that we move on now? And Jean Smith, would you like to introduce us to Ilkley District?
Well, this is John Hancock here. This is dedication is a wonderful thing in the u3a, and you'll have gathered by now that I'm not Jean Smith. I'll share the screen. Is this coming through okay?
Yep, you're fine.
It's fine.
Okay. I'm part of the website improvement team at Ilkley u3a. The top there is our banner headline. And I was reassured, actually, listening to the earlier presentation, that it reflects many of the things which we are trying to do ourselves, which is rather reassuring. So I want to talk about how we went about making our website more engaging, something we're doing about measuring our performance using Google Analytics and Google Console, and then talking about how we integrate with some of the other u3a communications. And finally, trying to improve our awareness through something called search engine optimization, which I don't pretend to understand, but we're just getting to grips with. Um, 2 years ago, we had a website administration team which reported into the trustees. We had a webmaster, 3 or 4 people in support roles, including the membership secretary. And the primary focus was on membership records, event management, group information, and some reporting of group activity. But no one had responsibility, no one had overall responsibility for the look, the feel, and the performance of the website. It was something which happened through osmosis almost. It was really very much based upon this is what we needed to have to be to run the organization. It was concentrating on membership records and have they paid their subscriptions and so on and so forth. And it's worth mentioning at this stage that there was the questions earlier on about site builder and whatnot. We use a package called Wild Apricot, which is not cheap, based in Toronto in Canada, but it is used by like-minded organizations to ours throughout the whole world. So there is a degree of expertise there. So we had this website administration team, and the first thing we did was to think about who had the overall responsibility. And we changed it from a website administration into a website improvement team. Same people, but we moved the responsibility into a communications and publicity group, which was one step away, removed away from the trustees. And the first thing we did was to try to look, we tried to search Google about what made a successful website. And there's many of the things that Chepstow have already mentioned. So I might visit the u3a website because there will always be something new to see. And we use the analogy of a newspaper article is only read once. So why would you want to keep going back to the same website when you're seeing the same thing over and over again? Our research said that people like shorter blocks of text, the use of animation and multimedia, only 25% of the website text actually gets read, and small segments and photographs and other content hold the attention, which again is reflecting what Chepstow have already said. Easy to find information. Navigation needs to be intuitive, smooth and straightforward, so I can get to the information easily. And that's all about having hyperlinks and reducing the number of tabs. It needs to look dynamic and interesting. So there'll always be something new to watch on the website. These are some examples of the things which we have. We have a green tip of the month. So every month that changes. There's we've discovered a scrapbook of Ilkley where somebody's been keeping cuttings from the local newspaper. So every month we put up a new section of that. We have ongoing forthcoming events. We do a lot of events by Zoom, and these are also on the front page. And we have an ongoing gallery of local views. And in terms of the shorter blocks of text, the sorts of things we use is there's animation at the very front of the website where there's the latest news and you can click on the link. We've got a humor page because people are always sending us these snippets off of social media, and we put up those twice a month with the latest slightly dubious humor sometimes, but nevertheless it's there. And we also, all of our various Zoom meetings are recorded, and we put up recordings there for people to go and click on the recording and a catch-up service. We need to make sure information is easy to find. So one of the first things we did was we cut down drastically on the number of tabs. And we only have a home page, join us, groups, events, news, members, and search. And through those, everything else becomes available. And these are a list of the topics, not groups, but topics which are currently up and running. So we have an ancestry group, which is not yet operating, but architecture is, and you click on architecture and it takes you through to the group page. So one of the things which we tried to do to start off with is we've been using something called Google Analytics to discover exactly who is looking at our website and how many people are visiting. And we started doing this in Q1 2009. You can see that the average daily visitors have increased steadily from about 50 in Q1 2019 up to 124 daily visitors in Q4 of last year. And these are the way that people arrive at our website. 62% are directly linked. So this is either people clicking on links on our newsflash or our sort of twice monthly newsletter, or there are people that have come into us through Google. Some of us have come through Facebook and Bing and Twitter. And we've also discovered through using Google Analytics, and this was a real surprise, that as a regular website user, you might perhaps think that most people go into the website on a desktop, but they don't. In fact, marginally 50% do. An awful lot of our visitors are actually visiting us on mobile phones, and a significant number on iPads and the like. And I'll just come back to that for a moment. That's actually quite important, because when you're looking at doing the desktop, when you're looking at creating the website, you'll find that what's sitting on what shows up on the desktop doesn't necessarily translate to when you're looking at it on a tablet or on a smaller mobile screen. So one of the things we do is every time we put something new on the website, we test it on a tablet and we test it on a mobile phone to make sure that they are viewable. Earlier on, I mentioned that we changed where the website improvement team reported into, and is part of the communications and publicity group, which in turn report to the management of the trustees. So this is at arm's length from the trustees, and it means that we can do our own thing without telling them what we're doing. Well, we do try to keep them informed, but you know what I mean. So the communications group consists of the website improvement team, which I've talked about. Somebody looks after social media, someone looks after the eye, which is a biannual publication, so of an 8-page glossy magazine. Newsflash, which is our online newsletter that comes out twice a month. And of course, we also have a public relations team, which looks at how we deal with the local press and a couple of local radio stations. So on social media, we have a Twitter page and Facebook. Here's an example of something which has been put onto our Facebook page. This somehow went viral. I've got no idea how, but it got seen by 1,600 members, 1,600 people up and down the country. And you'll see there that there's a link back to our website. So every time we post something on social media, there's a link back to the website and people click on that. And on this particular one, they end up at the Art for Fun presentation. Here's an example of the eye. This is an 8-page glossy newspaper, for want of a better description. And this has links as well. And can I draw your attention to the bottom left of the side there with a QR code? If you point your smartphone or your tablet at that QR code, it takes you to the website. And within the pages of the eye, there were perhaps in the last edition, 6 articles, which you clicked on you pointed your smartphone at the QR code and it took you back to the website where you could see everything on the website, including videos. This is an example of the newsflash, which goes out to our members twice a month. And again, you'll see that we had a nice Merry Snowman at the top of it in December. And there are, every time you see the QR link, that brings you back to the website. So the quirky humor would take you to the cartoons, the green tip of the month would take you to how green is your Christmas tree and so on. The public relations, this is an example of a recent post we put on our Ilkley Chat notice board. Ilkley Chat is an online forum newspaper which is run in Ilkley. It's got about 10,000 followers in Ilkley, and bearing in mind that Ilkley has only got a population of about 20,000, you can see that it's got half of the population looking at it. So here they took hold of one of the u3a's chats about our Christmas cracker event, and again it was linked back to the website where if people are interested, they could watch a video of the trustees making fools of themselves. I wanted to come back to this particular side, which talks about where we're getting our traffic from, and this is coming off of Google Analytics. That 22% coming in from Google, you think, my goodness, that's pretty good. But it's not as good as it may seem, because we've done some more research, and we've just started to do this, but for the 6 weeks ending 31st of December 2000, you'll see that a lot of people reached our website or had the website given to them on a Google search because they put in Ilkley U3a or they put in U3a Ilkley. And then various other things. Somebody has been searching the Boscastle flood case study. Now, that turned up on our web. That gave them a link back to the u3a website simply because we had a presentation about the Boscastle flood website, or the Boscastle flood, and that is still sitting on the website, so Google managed to pick it up. My favorite one here on the right-hand side is somebody's searched for the Ilkley tip and has ended up on the Ilkley U3a page. That is simply because we think Google tip has picked up green tip of the month. but nevertheless, searching for Ilkley tip, you end up on the U3A website. And this is the thing that we're now starting to look at, which is search engine optimization. It's about saying, how do we get U3A to be shown up more and more when you research Google? Because if you put in walking groups Ilkley and don't specify U3A, you are not necessarily going to end up with Ilkley U3A website for walking groups. If you put up, I want to learn French in Ilkley, you are not going to end up on the Ilkley U3A website. Even if you put up, I want to learn French for seniors, you're not going to end up on the Ilkley U3A website. So we're looking now to see how we can possibly start to educate Google to show U3A as a better solution for some of these more obscure search engines. And this is a screenshot of our current front page. You'll see that we have join us today, reduced membership, only £7, which takes us through to the next renewal. Like Chepstow, we've talked about we're a group of 1,500 retired and semi-retired folk, not quite the same language, but a similar sort of thing, who like to meet people, learn new things, and make friendships through shared interests and hobbies. And this list of events is constantly changing. These are the latest ones which are coming up. If anybody clicks on that, if they're a U3A member, they can register to join the Zoom presentation. If they're not, they get another link which says, hold on, this is all the information about this talk. If you want to see it, click here, and it takes you through to the membership page. So I think I'll stop there, Chair, and happy to answer any questions.
That's great. Thanks very much, John. Let me just find my place in the chats. Basically, let's see. There's I remember seeing a couple of questions. Somebody asked, what program do you use to produce your magazine?
It's a good question. We actually put it onto a PDF, send it off to a printer, and the printer sorts it all out for us.
Okay, and that's a good answer. And somebody else asked, how many people are on your communications team?
On the communications team, which covers the eyes, social media, etc., there's probably about 8 or 10. With access to the admin of the website, there's probably 8 of us.
Okay, and I don't know whether I know you're not getting commission from Wild Apricot, but can you give people some sort of idea how much the Wild Apricot costs?
Off the top of my head, no, but what I will do is I'll be happy to share it with you, Paul, and for you to then circulate the membership. Okay,
that's brilliant. Okay, right. Can we, are we okay? I'm going to assume, in the absence of cries to the country, that we're all okay to carry on. So can I ask Marilyn and Michael from Plymouth, do you want to step up? Thanks very much, by the way. That was brilliant, lovely. But the presentation so far have been absolutely gripping. I can barely tear my eyes away to look at the chat questions. You need to unmute, Michael, if you haven't already.
Right, I'll start again. Marilyn is not here.
Okay.
She sends her apologies. I was, how shall I put this? I was volunteered to do this. So I'll now try and share the correct screen. Let's hope that you get the right one this time. Okay. I'm hoping that you can all see the homepage of the Plymouth u3a website. Is that correct, Paul?
Yeah, you're good.
Lovely, thank you. Right. Quite unlike the first two groups that have u3a groups have spoken, Plymouth u3a, unfortunately in a way, doesn't have a group responsible for the website. And up until a few years ago, really didn't have much interest in having a website. 4 years ago, my predecessor set up a fresh website, and that website in structure is essentially the one that you see now. I say essentially in structure, it has been modified in various ways. I took over 2 years ago, and it's continuously, in fact, being modified with new images, new photographs, adjustments of menu and so on. But it's very much, it was left to my predecessor to set up the original website. And I have to say in Plymouth at the moment, it's very much left to me to manage the website. And in conjunction with Marilyn. Marilyn does have, our chair does have an input, but not much beyond that. You could say that Plymouth are fortunate in the sense that in managing to get somebody like myself in charge of the website, they've managed to collar somebody who has considerable experience in doing this sort of thing. In a previous life, I was known to teach A-level computer science. So as I say, a bit of experience, but that's the technical side of it. Really, we need to think, as has been demonstrated in the previous groups, you know, what are we actually showing within the website, and how are we presenting the information? Well, initially, it was set up purely with existing members in mind, to provide information for existing members, giving sort of information about sort of what groups we have, minutes for meetings, committee information, and so on. So it was, in that sense, it was somewhat limited. It's since been expanded a little bit further in that we've brought in information for new people wanting to join, members. We've got a menu item there, join us. So we've brought in new information in to attract, shall we say, people who are not currently members of Plymouth u3a. But what about the website itself and its sort of layout, its presentation, its look? As has been mentioned already, I think it's important to have a bit of an impact on the first page, a photograph, and I hope that photograph, which is of Plymouth Hoe, does that, for those of you who don't know it. And in terms of menu, one of the things that I noticed with a number of websites from Site Builder, a very long list of tabs across the top. Our feeling is that really we wanted to limit that to just a few. So we've just got home, about us, our groups. Website areas is restricted areas for different categories. Information for members, members portal, renewal, as I've mentioned, joiners. And most recently, we've tagged on a search facility onto the menu line as well. I'll say more about that in a moment. So the home page then, originally the home page actually was the welcome page, but when we had, all this problem with coronavirus came in, we decided that we needed to make a few changes so that we could put sort of in front of people what we're doing in terms of coronavirus. So we've got a link for there that gives information about what's happening. And we've also recently introduced a health and well-being page. And whilst we're not having meetings, we are doing online talks. So we also have a page with information about online talks. Some of those online talks are done through Zoom, and some are done through a company called Murty. Some of you may have heard of that, I don't know, but it's a commercial company doing online talks. I think they charge us something like £50 for each talk that we publish. We do have a Facebook page, although I'm not involved with that. But we do have a Facebook page, and we have a link through to that page. The welcome page is one that was set up really with monthly meetings in mind. But obviously we're now saying, well, we've not got monthly meetings, they're cancelled, but we are trialing online talks. In fact, I need to edit that because we're not trialing them anymore. We're actually we're doing them regularly. And information about how to get to the monthly meetings, and a map of the location of the Crown Plaza where we hold monthly meetings. Not relevant at the moment, of course, because of COVID. And as I say, we also got a health and well-being page, which we felt was important to really give a little bit of information about how people can keep fit. And we've included most recently in that actually a little video to do with Pilates that people can follow and work at home. So we're incorporating videos within the page. The About Us section gives general information about Plymouth U3a and includes a page that lists who is who on the committee. So people know sort of who it is that's actually running the organisation, with information about what their role is. We've got role description shown, excuse me, shown there. We have a partnership with Plymouth U3a, so we have a link for that. We publish newsletters every month. They are published on the website. They're published as PDFs, but because the newsletters contain some information which could be considered to be private, they are only accessed through the members area. So it's only members who have the password access that could actually see those newsletters. They're not available to the general public. And we've got a link to other U3As in our area. We have quite a number of them actually, Plimpton, Plymstock, etc. So we cross-link to those as well. In relation to our groups, mention was made of Beacon earlier. I must confess, I sincerely hope that Beacon is considerably improved when it comes to Beacon 2. I'm not involved in it, so I don't know what they're planning, but looking at it from my own point of view, it doesn't link very well with any website really, and certainly not with ours. So in order to provide a complete list, what we do at the moment is actually go to the Beacon website, which takes forever to load, and you're seeing a blank page at the moment. It'll load in a minute. Reliably, there we are. So we do have a lot of groups. There's our long list of groups. We keep that list directly on the Beacon website, but I think what is of much more use to people, on our group's information page, we have links to groups where groups have provided information for the website. So all of the ones that you see in red are ones that have further information. The ones that are in black do not. They haven't provided information for the website. Some of these are managed directly by the group leader. The system we use for this website, by the way, is WordPress. And we use a WordPress plugin which allows us to give access rights to group leaders so that they can modify their own page. They can't get access to anything else, but they can modify their own page. So the medieval history page, for example, it's fairly simple sort of page, gives a list of the interest areas that they've recently been investigating. If I go back to groups information and just tick another one, the walks, mud walks is a particularly interesting one. They have a slideshow so that people can see sort of, you know, what sort of areas and what they're looking at, and then information about their walks, mostly done locally, some a little bit further afield. But that page, I don't have anything to do with that page or the medieval history page or a number of others. The group leaders themselves, they log in, they keep that page up to date. As it happens, I'm also group leader for photography. So as you might expect, there's quite a substantial area related to photography with photographs, a very wide range of photographs actually, submitted by members of the group. As I mentioned earlier, the website areas are meant for specific group, like we've got a members area, so it's looking at documents, it's giving members access to documents that would not normally be available to the general public. Similarly with group leaders, similarly for committee. We have a direct link through to the members portal. I'm not going to click on that. It would simply take me through to Beacon again, but we provide information for members as to how to go about doing renewal, and how to use the portal guide. Beacon portal is for some people is very difficult, I think, to use. So we have a page which gives quite a detailed description of how to get into the Beacon portal and how to make use of it. Though it's difficult to use, I have to say we do have quite a high proportion of our members who do renew via the Beacon portal and renew online, that is. So it reduces the paperwork for membership secretary. And then we have the joiners section, so that's information about how to join with u3a. So that's intended for new members. And again, it's a guide of how to go about joining. The search facility, the particular layout of this website doesn't allow me to put a search box at the top. So instead I've put a link to a search page, but there is a search form on the right-hand side there. So members can search for whatever topic they like. So for example, they could try searching for knitting, and there we are. We don't have a knitting group, as I knew, but if they search for Ma Young, if I spell it right, I think I must have spelt it wrong. I'll do walks. I'll do something simpler instead. Walks. I shouldn't be being too clever. There we are. There are quite a number of pages doing walks, so it comes up with a list of all the pages related to walks. We've got a long walks group, and the mud walks. We've mentioned intermediate walks. A group that went on a Pembrokeshire holiday, or rather is planning a Pembrokeshire holiday, COVID permitting, of course, so on. So we have that added. So in other words, it's I think there's a lot there, but it's just me as an individual, if you will, trying to sort of ensure that this engages with as many people as possible. We don't have a group of people involved and within the organisation, within our U3A. Mention was made of Google earlier. I do actually reference Google and check from time to time. I haven't got slides to show you, but we do from time to time, I do from time to time have a check that. But if I may mention, for those of you who are managing websites, in terms of trying to get Google to list your page or improve the listing of your page, I believe one of the most important things is there's a thing called a meta tag description. Now, those who are doing websites, I would imagine, would know what I'm meaning here. If you don't, then I suggest you Google that and get information about meta tag description, because it's what you put in that description tag that more than anything else will improve your positioning in Google.
Michael, I'm going to cut you off there because I think the search engine optimization is a topic that's come up in different formats.
That's quite all right, Paul. I was just about to finish then anyway.
All right, okay, sorry. Last words to you then.
So I'll stop sharing.
Brilliant. Okay, Michael, that's really good. Thank you very much. Can we move straight on to Neil Rackham? And I did a quick check. I think you're okay for questions, Michael. So can I move on to Neil Rackham and Cheadle Hume, please?
Sure. I'll start off by trying to share if I can.
Yeah, you're sharing.
Okay. Our website is also based on WordPress, as was Plymouth. But we've chosen a different theme to the one they have. The reason we chose WordPress is because it's open access, it's web-based, so we can have a number of people to edit it, and it's free. So it doesn't cost you any money to actually do it. All you've got to do is learn how to do it. So I had to teach myself how to actually put this thing together, which we did over 2 weeks before Christmas. So this is what we've come up with. Excuse me, I'm just going to move your pictures a little bit to see if they'll come down to the bottom. There we go. What we have is, this is the home page. So you have, as with other groups, the bar at the top with your home, your notice and events, newsletters, list of all the groups, which I'll come back to in a few minutes. Visitors who can join us, and the committee as well. And also we've got a little search engine there for people that want to use the search. So as you can see, the front screen has a rolling window. It has 7 separate panes in the window. You can choose how many you want when you set it up. We chose 7. And what this enables us to do is to put little elements in, and if they want to look deeper, they can then look deeper into the various items. But for instance, if we go on to the notice and events, by the way, the picture in the background is Cheadle Hume, which is an aerial shot I took many years ago now. Anyway, so that gives us what our current events are, or our forthcoming events are. But it also provides us a link to, we set up a Google Calendar, such that it takes in all the Zoom meetings that we have. As you can see, that's what they are at the moment. So people can then look at whatever is running at the moment, and if not, well, I'll tell you how we deal with that again. If I may, I'll just go back to the front page. So we have this is one that we put in just before Christmas, which was just the photographic groups were putting in a competition on how the photographs were being presented. So we put them on the main screen. Go back to home. So we have, again, things like for the COVID. So unfortunately, Manchester, which is where Stockport and Greater Manchester is, we're in tier 4, which basically means we go nowhere, we do nothing, we just stay home and try and play on the website. I'll swing it around. We have a Facebook page. So we can, from here, go into Facebook. And hopefully this will do it. I'll change it over to how you would see as a visitor. Those are the recent posts that have gone in about various things. Come back up to home. As it's only just started, as I say, this was put up in December. We've still got a few things, and I've picked up a few ideas to enhance it from here. We've got an area for the Third Age Trust to tell us what the u3a is about. I've also linked in the local groups on their website, so you can click on one of these and you can go to one of the other groups' websites to see if they've got something different offering, and also the Third Age Trust website as well. That's also on there. If I look at the groups, it's a simple drop-down menu. You can look at whichever one you wish. And I will specifically go through to photography to begin with. Again, you'll notice that every page has got at least one picture on it, if not several pictures on it. We try and keep it to be driven by as much graphics as we can, although I have to say we do get a bit wordy at times. Every group page has got a connection to the group leader. So in this case, it's photography, which is the one I run, which allows, you can then send them an email direct. As you can see, there's an email up there. And I should also say that, move that around a bit. Doesn't help me when I'm doing this. There we go. Thank you. The actual website is covered by bot protection, which means that you don't get computers trawling around for email addresses ad nauseum, and then you start getting lots of emails that you don't want. So the whole website is covered. At this point, you don't see the actual email address. It's all encrypted, so it's as safe as we can make it. You'll also note that we chose to put in, rather than hotkeys, which we've got up here, on every page we've sort of made them stand out so they're easy to see. People can, if they're slightly visually impaired, I've got a better chance of being able to pick them up. We have a Facebook page specifically for the photographic group, so that you can go through and that's all of the pictures that the photographic group have taken and submitted to the group for whatever purpose. That particular one was one for recoloring from black and white. Well, you can see you've got the u3a on there because there's the black and white one that it came from. Various editing techniques and processes. Sorry, I shouldn't be doing that. Okay. I'll go back to home. We have, again, our committee, so you know who everyone is. Those that have got email addresses, again, we have an email address connection. So if they've got any requirements for the chairman, which is unfortunately me, or any of the treasurer in this time of year for membership, then they can be contacted. Fairly simple. it was easy to having learnt it to put it together. We now have 3 people that can edit it, which is the reason for change was that the previous person that developed the site was under a system called Rapid Weaver, meant that only he could actually alter it. So we were limited to 1 person, and he just turned around and said, well, I want to retire from this. I don't mind doing just, coming to the meetings, but I don't want to get involved with anything, which we had to do something to put it back together again. We've now got 3, so at least it spreads it a bit. I will think that really is about all I can say. I can go through it and tell you about the newsletters and what else have you, but that's it, I'm afraid. I can't hear you, Paul. You're on mute.
Thanks, Neil. I was really struck by your moving pictures on your front page. It's a way of getting the maximum interest onto that land page.
That's right. Well, that's what we tried to do. It was to have the front page is for new members or to attract interest in, so it gives them a quick scan through what there is to see, and for the members they have the top row where they can go into the groups and look what their group's doing, as other people can as well. And you can also look around the whole site and pick up the information that you need.
Okay, that's great. And just looking at the questions, somebody was raising an issue of security for your website. Do you have a do you have an HTTPS address or
Yes.
What? Okay, thank you. So there's a further message. Do you access your Facebook page via the website?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
As I did then.
Yeah.
But you can also go direct to Facebook as well. But I found that having put it on, the members have been more inclined to go through and use Facebook now than they were when they had to have a Facebook, and they went into Facebook and then went into our Facebook page.
Okay.
We've also got a Twitter account on there as well, so we have one for that as well.
Okay. No, that's great. Thank you very much, Neil. So last but by no means least, can we turn to Rod and Richard from Basingstoke, please?
So have I got right? So I'm online.
Yeah. If you share your screen.
Yeah. Just 1 minute. Can everyone see? See that?
Yeah, we've got you.
So first of all, the thing, maybe I can do a slideshow. A bit of luck. Okay, so the first thing to say is that myself, I'm the webmaster. Rod Marshall is also on here. He's the chairman of Basingstoke Old Basing U3a, and this is really because we were building a new website. So I'll be talking more about the consideration, why we did it, what design considerations we thought of, some of the results and conclusions. So to to focus on that. So this was, we were doing this really before COVID started, but obviously whilst it's been going on. So the contents really want to talk about sort of the background. Why did we decide to rebuild our website? How did we go about designing it? I've got 2 or 3 sample screenshots to show you, and some conclusions and results. Obviously, I can show the website as well if there's time. Okay, so why did we want to rebuild it? Well, first of all, a driving force that we had lost members in the previous year. So we realized we needed to generate more members. Our existing website, I think, was very unattractive, was an awful mustard color. It had only 1 person maintaining it, difficult to maintain, and it was always out of date. It was sort of built on a low-level platform, really, and no one was happy with it. So what we wanted was a website that was much easier to maintain, so we could keep it up to date. We wanted, emphasis more on, new members, marketing what we offer. was a key driver, and obviously to drive new membership to replace the ones we'd lost, as well as to support existing members as well, because we want them to renew. That's key for us as well. Okay, so how did we go about designing it? So first of all, we wanted a platform that was easy to maintain. And at the time, so early on in 2020, for February, March, I was looking at u3a Site Builder because I thought this is going to be easy to build on. It's free, and there is existing expertise, you know, in the national u3a team. I was also looking at Wix, which is a commercial platform, which is the largest, I think, in the world, and it costs something like £100 odd a year for a subscription. By the fact that Rod, he was joining us from Fleet u3a. He was going to be our chairman, and he had been the webmaster at Fleet u3a, and their website was built on Wix. So so in the end, we decided to choose Wix because of these are the reasons. A, we could take advantage of Rod's technical expertise. We could use, you know, he'd got some routines he'd built, so we could take advantage of those. And one of the ones we've used on our homepage is rolling news. It has sort of 5 or 6 items. You know, it could be a new group that's opening. It could be COVID restrictions that's pertinent. We want everyone to see on the homepage. So they want people to go to the homepage regularly to see what the latest news is. Wix does offer that extra flexibility that you know, that Site Builder doesn't have. So we include extra routines. Some of those Rod had already built using HTML. And important to us that the top level headings reflected our key selling points to appeal to new, you know, potential members as well. Okay, so moving on. So this is a snapshot of our home screen. We realized, first of all, we needed to have a photograph of Basingstoke. It's not as easy as Ilkley to find a lovely view. But we did manage to find a nice local spot that looked really good to say this is Basingstoke. It was important, I think, that it's been a long time ago now, but Chepstow talked about that. Who are we appealing to? The working full-time, raising a family. You know, now's the time to make the most of life, the message that they have, and giving you the chance to develop your interests, make new friends, and enjoy yourselves. So we spent a long time, although we haven't got a website group, so it's been mainly myself and Rod particularly building this. We do have a marketing team, so we did involve them in particularly defining the homepage. And then we've got links, as you can see, to other areas. The piece on the right is some rolling news, which may be interest to you. That if you register via Amazon Smile and you buy things via Amazon Smile, 0.5% of the price can be sent to your u3a. I don't know how much money we've raised by this already, but quite a bit, I think. That's a good way of raising money. Okay. Along the top is important that we wanted to emphasize what are the key areas that are key selling areas. One thing, obviously, we're all affected by COVID. So we wanted to say, this is current activities. We're still going here. We've got lots of groups running, doing online activities, Zoom, email, WhatsApp. A lot of the time we've had groups running outside. The cycling group have run most of the year, etc. We've even had indoor groups running. Table tennis, line dancing have run for quite a lot of this year or last year. So we wanted to emphasize that, and within that section, it gives a list of, it's a document I've produced to keep updating of what each group is doing that are running. Next online meeting is what's the discussion. Okay, we've also got a section near the top about membership. What are the benefits of joining us? What as well, and then how to join. And so we've got an application form in, they can fill on online, and then it tells you who to send it to. We haven't yet implemented the idea that you can take that and just join online through Beacon. We haven't done that yet, but so you can fill on the application form online anyway. Okay. And obviously, as everyone, groups are the key, they're the lifeblood. So I've got a captured screen to show you of how we've broken down groups for people to have a look at the information. Meetings, well, it used to be our monthly meeting. We used to hold that in a big hall, big church hall. Obviously, we can't at the moment, but we've recently introduced running online meetings. There's a company that runs them, whose name escapes me, and we're having one a month of those. And actually, more people have attended those than attended the formal get-togethers that we used to have. So we're talking at least 100 people are attending these once a month, which is great. We also wanted to put in you could call it a group, but trips are so important to our u3a because there's two ladies run it, and it's fabulous that they're running excursions all over the country, different things, and also holidays. They even managed a holiday to Greece in October 2020. So we thought this is a big selling point for us to go with like-minded people. So we've got that on the top because we think that's important. Documents, we've included some of the financial documents, AGM minutes, and also newsletters. And I think this is a note to Rod and I, maybe we need to make that a bit more explicit, that we have newsletters up there, and we're also writing articles for local magazines and newspapers. So I think we need to, a bit more around there as well. And although you probably can't see it, got a section at the end is really for group leaders. So it allows them to go into Beacon. So really the individual members aren't going into Beacon as such, it's just the group leaders. Okay. And then if I move on to the next slide, which also, so talking a bit about our groups, we split so we've got sort of 40 odd groups running, and we split them into, I think these are called faculties, that might correct us. And what it means, you can either, we've got a list of all the individual groups and you go on their webpage, or you can click on these faculties above them. So like if you pick languages, it then gives you all the different language groups we run with French, German, Spanish, and Italian, and then you can go from one to the other. So there's, I think the navigation is key as well. So that's good. And then we've got a contact form there if you want to make inquiries. I think an important point, we had to consider GDPR carefully. I don't know if you've had to do this. And really, you can't have people's email addresses on there. You can't have group leaders' email addresses on here because this is a website open to the whole world. So instead, we have a contact form, and then I would then receive that and pass it on and liaise with the actual group leader to get in touch with the person. Okay. And just to include another one, I mentioned about trips. Yeah, we've got, we do have more photographs than I can show you. So it says these are some trips that we went on in 2019, some of the photographs from those. And if you could go further down, you would see details of the holiday that people had in Greece and other trips we did. We went to visit, it's a ship in Bristol that they had a visit to as well. And then there's a second page to this, which gives you the individual details. So we're running a holiday, in fact, to Croatia this year in April. Go on it, this is how you book, this is how much you've got to pay, etc. When it is, how long for. So we include the details as a sort of further trip. Okay, so that's just gives you a flavour of our website. And I think important to tell you something about conclusions and results. This only went live in July, and having seen the other four, I can see quite a few ways we could improve it. For example, we've only recently started having a Facebook page, and at this point in time, we have no links to it from here. So that's something to have a look at. The first thing, has been very well received by existing members and group leaders who are using it. And the way we're doing it is sort of, it's driven through Rod and I, that you know, we're doing the updates, they're providing them. We're not having individual group leaders doing their own updates. So we're making regular updates to the website, you know, particularly in view of COVID-19 and group activities. For example, you know, on the 4th of December, when lockdown ended, I then went through and said, right, this group's now running, table tennis is now running, you know, it's meeting then. And then on the 26th of December, when Basingstoke went into tier 4, I had to go backwards again and say, this isn't running anymore. So, and no doubt something else will happen. So we are restricted to the online. The website, worth saying, is part of a wider coordinated marketing effort with our marketing team. I think there's 5 of us on that. So we're now doing a monthly. We created a poster earlier on in the year and displayed that particularly importantly in you know, local supermarkets. And I think we're well positioned in Basingstoke, is that we've got one of everything. I think we've got from Aldi to Waitrose, with Sainsbury's, Morrison's, Asda in between. So I think that they were really good places. Also community centres as well. We are limited because you can't go and put posters up in, you know, doctor's surgeries, for example. We've also been in touch with, there are local free magazines, and also we have 2 newspapers in Basingstoke, the Gazette and the Observer, and we're now getting a monthly article in each one of those. Again, that's something I think we could be putting on here as well. So we're really pleased with that, and it is working. You know, we've in what is a very difficult year. Why would people necessarily want to join the u3a when you can't meet? And so far, we've had 13 members have come along and joined us in the second half of 2020 during COVID. So we're really pleased, about that. And people are going to finding our website. We haven't done the analysis that other areas have done to say where they're coming from, but again, that's something we can develop as we go forward.